Hello and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have a spectacular VIP guest with me tonight, Gene Franco. Gene is an artist and theater actor, and he is live with us. And I've got some wonderful questions to ask him about his being an artist and his paintings and his great movies. Let's give a warm welcome to Gene. Hey, Gene, how are you? And thank you for being here.
Hi, AJ. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us with AJ's Film Talk. I'm really honored to be part of the show, and I am excited to talk about film.
Yes. Well, we're honored that you are here, Gene. And I've been looking forward to this all week. From the weekend, I was just like so excited. And so here we are. And we originally met on Clubhouse. Isn't that right?
Yes, we met at Hamza's. I forgot the name. Hollywood Chit Chat.
Yes, Hollywood Chit Chat. And since then, we've been friends on Clubhouse and we've been in rooms together, and it's been great. So I'm so glad, that's the power of Clubhouse, isn't it, Gene? That we can meet people from all over the world, right?
Yeah, it's kind of making our distances much shorter than we actually are, because you're so far away from me, and at that point in my life, I was living in Mexico when I had just started joining Clubhouse, and in order for me to like talk to you, it's amazing that we were able to use this technology to communicate and bond with each other, even though we are far away. And I think this is one of the first times we've seen each other on video, because everything else was audible only by voice. And so this gives it another dimension.
It really does. It makes it so wonderful that we can talk and connect. Now, where are you? Are you in San Francisco, or where are you?
So currently, after I was in Mexico for 2 years, I got invited by San Francisco MoMA to perform a two-person play called Interview with Frida Kahlo, in front of Diego Rivera's mural, the Pan American Unity mural, which is being showcased at the MoMA right now until next year. And since I got to San Francisco, I got offered a job at the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts, where I get to hang installations on the wall. I get to interview artists and their process and document it. And I was actually just teaching a sip and paint class right before I got to speak with you. So I had around 10 students, and I instructed them how to create like a rose in the middle with like a ribbon for saying and 3 little hearts in the bottom. And I kind of got into the process of painting that image.
That is so beautiful.
While they sip their wine.
That's why it's called sip, right? And paint. So this is incredible. You're such a great teacher because you have wonderful empathy. And as an artist, you feel, most artists feel very deep with colors and words and paintings and things like that. So you're in your element there, Gene. You're doing exactly right. Tell us.
I really am. I feel like I'm finally fulfilling my purpose in terms of sharing the knowledge that I've accumulated for myself and share it with the community. And even each of us has a lesson and a story to tell, and that's what I really love about the community here, because I'm helping them guide the process. Some of my students today, it was the first time painting in acrylic, and so I had to kind of show them like the ways to handle the brush as you drag the paint across the canvas, and you kind of sweep it around, but and it had some of them had to like switch their thinking because some of them are used to painting in oil, and painting in acrylic is a little bit different because in oil you can move the pigments around, but in acrylic you really have to wait for the painting to dry, for the paint to dry first before you can go over it a different color. Otherwise it's just gonna smear.
Absolutely. And I remember those classes that I took with oil. I loved the smell of the oil. And even acrylic has a wonderful smell all its own. And so, you teaching painting, this is just a wonderful thing. I'm so, so proud of you, Jean. And also, I want to let you know, Paul has just arrived. Hey, Paul Vato, our co-host. How are you, Paul?
I'm doing well, AJ, and great to see you, Gene. It's been a while, but always
I,
such a big fan of yours on Clubhouse and whatnot. So great to see you.
oh, thank you. Great to see you too. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for doing the show.
Of course, anything for AJ and Paul.
Yeah, what about me? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course.
I
Anything for
oh,
yeah. Yeah, you did.
I love that. Paul, Gene was just telling us that he is in San Francisco and he just was teaching sip and paint, or is it paint and sip, Gene?
either
I,
way, that's why
I
they're called spirit in the first place, to kind of have you be infused with the spirits and be inspired to use color to express an idea or a feeling or an emotion onto canvas.
I love that. I think it's such a great concept, and you're right. I think a little bit of alcohol loosens everyone up.
Yeah.
So I would assume it's alcohol. So yeah.
I had to show some of my students like brush techniques to kind of smear the paint around to have it an even wash. Otherwise, if you just kind of paint line by line, it's going to have unevenness to the canvas, so it's not going to be as smooth as one would wish or hope.
What is the theme that they are painting, your students, or is it free? I was going to say free range, but that's not the right term. Is it free?
Free
Well,
form,
yeah.
maybe.
Well, for today, since it's Valentine's Day, I decided to have my students paint like a big rose in the middle with two leaves on each side of the sides. And then underneath the rose, it has a saying of whatever they want to write down like in the ribbon. And then underneath the ribbon, in the back, and I guess it has three little hearts and with a black paint for the background, so it will stick out. If you want, I can show you guys while I do this interview, so I can show you exactly what I had my students did or do or have done. Sorry, one of those.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
How you described it. Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Paul.
let me bring you. And, the center right now teaches many classes. We teach ballet, we teach capoeira, we teach Mexican folklorico, we teach danzón for the elderlies. Every Sundays we have a taco. We have a taco truck.
That if you go to the upper left corner, if you see a little green shield and you click on that, you may be able to change.
Oh, there you go.
This is so important. How can people take classes there, Jean?
So so today we did a little special event for the day of St. Valentine's to have a paint and sip. Hopefully we're gonna start doing this every Friday or every week. We're gonna try to do that because we're the new director is trying to run more programmings for people in our community to kind of learn how to express themselves other than words and dancing, and for the center here in the Mission District.
Amazing. What do you think, Paul? Isn't that a fun place?
I love it, man. It makes me want to visit San Francisco again, and
Yeah, you
yeah,
have to,
especially.
guys.
I would love to. I would love that.
Are you guys a fan of Santana?
Of course, Carlos Santana. Yeah, of course.
Carlos
Yes.
Santana used to play in the center before he got all famous, because what happened to them, because they were like a bunch of musicians who started playing in Dolores Park, and the neighbors called the cops to like make them stop making noise. And so they were like, fuck this shit, we're gonna find a place to call home. And Carlos Santana started here in the Mission Cultural Center before he got his break.
Was that back in the 1930s? No, I'm just kidding.
No. 70s.
Of course. Yeah, he's not that old. I was just kidding.
I love that. That's so awesome. So, wow, it's really got some world-renowned history there as well. And this is so important in today's world too, because the Latina and Mexican, I mean, you're part Mexican, right, Paul? There needs to be more. There's so much rich, beautiful history and art and expression, and we need to see more of that in the world.
Yeah. Especially when California and Texas was part of Mexico before it became the United States. So that's why when you hear people say the border crossed us, that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, we didn't cross the border crossed us. That's right.
Yeah. So I love this so much. And I do want to talk a little bit about your beautiful films that we've got on our second screen as well. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yes, we've got Paul, I hope you can see these.
Yes.
Beautiful Infinity and Chashu Ramen. And What Did You Do in the War, Mama? A film by Marlon Warren.
Yes.
So let's talk about those two films. The first one, Infinity and Chashu Ramen. It looks like there's a famous actor in that. Is that right?
I forget her. She's a famous activist. Or he is a famous activist, poet, and theater maker by the name of Hiroshi Kashawagi, who wrote plays during his time during the internment camps, which he faced during World War II because he was Japanese American. And so in order to kind of fulfill his time in while being interned in this camps, he decided to put on plays for his fellow Japanese Americans so they don't feel so alienated for being interned. Because as art has healing properties, and so in order to kind of heal the community, he started writing plays about his experiences during his time in the concentration camps, and which was a little bit unfortunate, but he went through what he went through.
So powerful.
And on the day we premiered here in San Francisco, in one of the, I forget the theater because it was a little bit while ago. I forgot the name of the theater, but he got honored by the city of San Francisco with a plaque that every 4/20 or April 20th is Hiroshi Kasawagi Day.
This is amazing. I'm so glad that they did that, and it's about time. On the poster, it says the universe unfolds a little differently in Japantown. And I love this poster. I mean, this is the creativity of it was so wrong, right, being in the encampments, but he turned it into a positive. He changed it up. And what a horrible experience that it would, that it was. And yet he made the very best of it. And that's the human spirit that overcomes all of these tragedies and atrocities. What do you think, Jean?
Yes, definitely. That's the way he felt that art was a way to heal the community and to uplift that, because without art, he would not have been able to lift everybody in the community, and everyone would have been devastated, having to face all that. So art in that way was very healing. And the person who wrote Infinity Ramen used to be a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, which is also the writer and the director, Kerwin Burke. And when he kind of wrote this film, he thought of the community in San Francisco and what made it San Francisco. And there's so many stories in Infinity and Ramen, kind of showcasing Asian Americans in film, but also what's the current trend in Japanese restaurants is to hire Latino workers, who some of them are undocumented, and which is what my character was at that point, where Raul moved to San Francisco to become an artist, and he meets this girl who falls in love with her, kind of love at first sight, as he was drawing her in the mall. And since there was like a language barrier that they couldn't communicate with each other, he used his art to communicate with her, and he started drawing her, and that kind of started the conversation. But as that only shows like a slice of life as they move on to different stories, and many 5 other narratives within the film itself. And
it's a great story. Like you said, it's got interwoven, wonderful, beautiful messages of how art can heal, and the importance of the Japanese culture and Asian culture. And I'm 2.2% Chinese dye, so I appreciate that. And I love that. Don't you, Paul? What do you think, Paul? Love to hear what you think.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I especially love the fact that I think obviously that there should be, more stories that voices that maybe don't have as much representation get made. And I think this is like one of those stories. So congratulations on being a part of that, getting it made and being a part of it. But also I always have an affinity for there should be more stories about like Asians and Latinos, coming together, because you always see it like black and white kind of a thing. And but how about a nice story with because a lot of these cultures have been here a long time, like you mentioned, with Latinos, we didn't cross the border crossed us, but people seem to forget that. And Asians have also this long rich history, whether they came here to work on the railroads or especially like San Francisco, they've been here longer than other generations. But I would love to see stories that bring the two cultures together. But then again, I guess maybe that could just be a Filipino story. I don't know, because it's Spanish and Asian.
I totally agree, because American culture is made up with all this different. I think of American culture basically as food. That the more, and each different cultures that come into America as different spices, because without each spice, the food will not taste as delicious.
You're 100% right. That's a great way. It's a great way to look at it. Everyone contributes a little bit into this big melting pot. So, yeah, I think that's a fantastic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I also have this thing about America being more like a big giant jigsaw puzzle instead of a melting pot, because even though I think melting pot is a misnomer because a lot of the people here, a lot of the immigrants that moved to America, they are preserving their culture and sharing it with others. But in order to preserve that, they have to be their own individual jigsaw puzzle piece in order to like fit into the larger picture.
Oh, that, you know what, that that is a really good way of putting it. And I think I of course I use melting pot because that's kind of what everybody has always used. But I love your definition and your explanation of them being, you know, of us and them and everyone being puzzle pieces and fitting
Yeah,
into the big picture. You're right.
yeah.
That's such a great analogy.
And that each one cannot exist, like the whole picture, the whole image cannot exist without each individual pieces, because if there's a missing piece of the puzzle, it's still an incomplete puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, I love it.
Oh, this is incredible. Me too. I feel that. I love that analogy. Just what Paul said. It fits even more perfectly because we can still retain the qualities of, you know, where we've come from. So that is a part of it because it is so important of the fabric, you know, of our society. So I love that, Jean, that you thought about that. That should be a movie. Um,
Yeah,
so
I mean, it wasn't. There was a movie called Crash of a while ago where all the different people came together um, because of an accident, right? That's
yeah,
one of my favorite movies that I can remember from like the year 2000.
it's a great movie. I remember seeing it. Did you, Paul? Did you like Crash, the movie?
Oh yeah, no, I saw it. It was when, you know, when it came out, it was pretty hard hitting. But you're
Yeah.
right, everything kind of came together because of this crash. But it addressed a lot of the topics that needed to be addressed, you know, at the time and now still. But and especially just the different cultures that come together in Los Angeles and
Yeah, it's even
yeah,
more prevalent now because of the all this kind of um this association and kind of like what's the word, like when we're tearing each other apart, and also this surge of anti-Asian hate and Black Lives Matter in all of this, and many more. You know, the people, the undocumented people who are suffering at the borders, that are they're placed in solitary confinement or in the cages. It's even more relevant today than it ever is, right? Because we're still going through it.
yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, we definitely are.
Me too. And I love the fact when everybody's coming together. I know Paul is that way, you're that way, Jean. And I love it when there's solutions to bring people together because that's what it's all about for us. That's the only way. That is the way up. And so
Yeah,
I love your heart. Don't we, Paul? We love your heart, Jean. So
thank you.
yeah, we want you to know that.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, okay, let's go over to your second movie. I'd like to know where we can watch these two. This one is what did you do in the war, Mama? So
Okay, so that one is a little bit more of a documentary. Oops. Um, is that one was I did back in this 2013. I don't remember. Um, but I did that because I got I got connected to Yuri Kochiyama, who was one of the Asian American activists who chained herself to the Statue of Liberty along with Malcolm X,
wow.
and she was the one who held his head as he lay dying in the streets of New York. Um, and Yuri Kochiyama has been very inspirational to me in terms of trying to do good, trying to kind of connect with other communities other than her own, because Yuri is Japanese American who also, like Hiroshi Kasawagi, was interned in the Japanese internment camps and used art and activism to kind of put a fire to what is going on in the community and the world of America at large. And Yuri, it really gave me the strength. After that, we did a little play for her, and I was so glad that she was still alive and able to witness what came forth of her kind of activism and how that connected the past and the present that I currently exist. And because of her activism, many people are more inclined to have more liberty and freedom to express themselves regarding whatever cultural background they came from, as long as it's for social justice and inclusivity.
Wow, this is phenomenal. You know, it says on the poster, Kochiyama's Crusaders, and you think about you meeting her, the spirit and the strength that she also had to have as well. And does that inspire you today, Jean?
Yes, definitely. A lot of my mentors have become my friends over the course of my life, and I feel very blessed to have started my actor's journey here in San Francisco, because had it not been for acting, I would not have been able to kind of have access to these people who are living legends who have done so much for the community around them and for the greater good of America at large. You know, Yuri was one of the people that have kind of mentored me in terms of how to view the world, and such as Hiroshi. Another one that I was mentored by was Jose Saria was the first drag queen who ran for office in California or throughout the United States. Even it was 12 years before Harvey Milk or Stonewall existed, and she helped change the course of history here in throughout the United States for gay people and equality. And all these mentors that I've kind of touched kind of helped me realize that there's so more work to be done because of the inequalities that exist. And that for me, my role I've been noticing throughout the years has been trying to connect the past with the present. And hopefully we can create a future that is more equitable for the rest of us. And without their influence in my life, I don't think I would have gone in that direction of art and social activism.
Yes, and I love, Jean, your dedication and your respect for your mentors. And I just want to say a big thank you for all the mentors out there. You're absolutely right. They're pivotal in our lives because they come in at just the right time to help us with exactly what we need to do. A little nudge, a little push, whatever it is. And so I'm so grateful. You are amazing. I'm so proud of you. I think I said this before, but I wanted to share with Paul some fun things about you, Jean. You have graduated from UC Berkeley Theater, Dance, and Performance Studies Department. You've gone there. We mentioned you played Frida Kahlo. You also have played Shakespeare. You won there. I'd love to hear the story about that. You've lived in Paris. You play the violin and the koto. I want to know what that is. And of course, you paint. Your paintings have been in De Young, museum and also elsewhere. So let's take the first question. Well, that's a lot to unpack first, but Jean, how did you get into doing Shakespeare? Do you want to share that story with us?
Yeah, so in 2008, there was a casting call for to play this little theater company that I worked for called Boxcar Theater. They were looking for Juliet, but they wanted to make a spin out of that, make it more current. And at the time, gay marriage was still considered illegal. And on top of all that, there was still discrimination within the trans community from the queer community. And so the director wanted to portray an actor in as trans, Juliet as trans, to portray the iniquities that she will be facing in the current nature of our society, right? Because at that point, there's even still now, trans people are still being murdered, and so he wanted to make that point of making Juliet Julienne. And it was my first Shakespeare role, and unfortunately, even though I graduated from Berkeley, I didn't get to take the Shakespeare class that they offered because I didn't do the requirements. And so taking on this role, I had to do my own research, plus the production team's support in terms of doing the iambic pentameter and really understanding the text of Shakespeare, because it's so far removed from our colloquial language today that sometimes words and sentences can go amiss. But in terms, they really helped me in kind of formulating my own voice as Juliet, as a character speaking in Shakespeare's time, and how those words are relevant to what is going on to society today. And it was quite a privilege for me because growing up, I did feel as though I was born in the wrong body, but I didn't want to do like the surgeries like other people would like to do, which I have made my choice that I didn't want to change anything for myself physically, but for those that do, they have the right to do so and continue forward in that direction. And so playing the character of Julian and doing Shakespeare kind of made me kind of learn how to communicate the words that are foreign to me and express it in a way that modern and contemporary viewers can understand and digest, so that they can understand it for themselves. And that is really what the job of an actor is today, right? Is to kind of experience the world that director has given, and express it so others can understand.
Yes, and I think that's phenomenal that you were able to achieve, because that was an achievement. There's a lot of these, thous, and those, but most importantly, you got the chance to do that, and I'm so proud of you for sticking to your goal and of wanting to do it and achieving it. Don't you think that's wonderful, Paul?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here in silence, just listening to all the, all the accomplishments, and that is wonderful. I would have loved to have seen your performance as Frida, because I'm such a big fan of Frida Kahlo, and I love that you took on that role. Did you put in? Did you make a unibrow? Did you pencil in hair?
Yeah. course. I mean, I have a little bit of a unibrow. There's
Yeah.
like missing, lots of missing pieces, but I do have hair in between my eyes.
Yeah,
It's not
I'll bet.
pronounced, but it's there. So I just darkened it, and what had originally happened was in the year 2000, when the Frida Kahlo exhibit came to the San Francisco MoMA, I I went to the museum and bought my first ever copy of Frida's diary. And as I was reading through it, a museum attendant kind of, came up to me and said, "Happy birthday, Frida. Here's a free ticket to go see your exhibition." And that Rene Yanez was looking for me. And I was very like taken aback. I'm like, "Oh wow, this is really strange." Like, okay, I'll call Rene. Sure. Um, and then that turned into a whole performance of a lifetime, I think, or a performance of a lifetime, or an embodiment, or a channeling, what as you call it. Because ever since then, my life as Frida has kind of exponentially climbed, where it got to the point where I did a little documentary for the Smithsonian, Smithsonian Archives of American Art, pardon, and then most recently a two-person play at the San Francisco MoMA, which hopefully I'm gonna tour around. And this summer, I'm thinking of putting it back again, maybe here at the Commission Cultural Center.
Amazing, amazing. We'll definitely keep us posted. And I've seen a couple of her exhibitions. I think it was both for her and Diego. And gosh, it's been so long, but I was visiting Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico once, and it just happened to be happening. So I spent the day at the museum checking out, but to see the work, in person, works that I'd only seen in books, but then to actually see it in person, where you could almost touch it, I guess you could touch it if you're.
Well, no, you can't touch
Get in
it.
trouble.
It's $1.
But,
You're gonna go to jail.
Yeah,
Hey.
but to be so close
that.
to it.
Paul, I
Sorry.
wanted to let you know that Jean, I think I mentioned this, Jean plays the violin and koto. Paul, do you know what koto is? What a koto?
I know what a violin is. Koto sounds like an ethnic violin. I don't know.
Well, the koto I learned because I was working at this Japanese restaurant, and my the Japanese restaurant owner's wife was a koto master, who is Japanese American, and the koto came to Japan during the 5th century BC, before Christ, through Buddhism, and it's like a 13-string plucked instrument. It's what you see the geishas play, and they like play it with like with their fingers, with like the little claws, and it's like flat. It's very ancient. And so when she told me, "Do you want to learn how to play this instrument?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Yes. How could I not want to play this or learn how to play it when it's that ancient?" And I love anything that has history and rich in culture. And so for me to learn how to play the koto is, for me, is one of the most enriching aspects of my life.
Yes, what fun. And I love things that are unusual and different and that we can learn, especially ancient and musical instruments, things like that. That's always so cool to me.
AJ, yes. Now I remember very well. I don't know if you know this or not, and I'm going from memory here, so forgive me if I'm not 100% right. But the koto are roughly 180 centimeters in length, and they're made from paulownia wood. Did you know that? And the most common type uses 13 strings strung over movable bridges used for tuning. Uh, I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
reading it from
it's very
Wikipedia.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Paul.
Sure.
Fascinating, isn't it?
No, it really is though. I looked it up, and it is such a fascinating instrument. And of course, I'm familiar with it. Like when you watch movies with geishas, and you see that they're playing this very traditional instrument. So that's amazing that that you learned how to play it. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, thank you. It hadn't been for my teacher, I wouldn't, and that job, I would not have been able to learn this. And I feel very enriched as as a human being.
I love this so much. And we love you as a human being as well. We love your heart, Jean. So we're all supporting you. And also, I want to ask you, the time has gone just by so fast, but I have a couple more questions. And maybe if
Yeah.
Paul wants a few more, he can ask it as well. I'd love to hear for what he thinks. Here's two questions for you, and you can answer both or either or, Jean, okay? So who would you like to work with in the future? And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So in the future, I would, I have two dreams. I had two dreams so far. One of them is to work with Steven Bernstein. I remember in my dream that we were filming and I was on set, and the way Steven uses lighting and the way he uses the backstory of the actors, and to kind of infuse them how to tell, not how to tell the story, but to how to like experience the story. I just love. I love the way his mind works. I love how he incorporates art in as a basis of his lighting techniques. He is one of the directors I definitely want to work with, and I had a dream, and I was like, I woke up and I'm like, oh, it's not real, but hopefully one day, love to work with him, and then from that on, I don't know what will happen, but hopefully it can happen, because I know he really likes actors to kind of like dissect and interact with his world, and I think hopefully if I get a chance, I think I will do really well in his world. And in 5 years, hopefully my work here in the Cultural Center has already will develop more, because right now I am plastered all over the social media as Frida, and hopefully in the future I will have a series that will feature me as Frida, because as I mentioned, as I thought about it, it might as well be me than some other bitch. Mm-hmm.
I'm manifesting it right now, aren't you, Paul?
Absolutely, I would love to see that. Yeah, so definitely.
And you deserve it.
We're doing it for selfish reasons. We're manifesting because this is a project that we want to see.
It's not selfish. For me, it's more like giving the world what it deserves.
Yeah, well, I'm saying for us, we're being selfish because I want to see it. Yes. So absolutely, yeah.
Yes, and I love Steven. We love Steven Bernstein. He is, oh my gosh, one of the top directors. I would love to interview him. I've reached out to him. I would love to have him on our show too, but he's phenomenal. I can see why you would adore working with him. Don't you, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean, I hope you can get him for an interview.
Yeah. Oh my God, AJ, that he, as much as he talks, he does drop gems frequently in his experience. and the way he extrapolates things with his words, and the way he structures his mind together. I feel like I'm in heaven.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Paul, and then we're going to find out how people can support and follow you, Gene. Paul, over to you. Any questions or comments?
No, this has been fantastic, AJ. I'm glad I was able to make it in. Sorry I was a little late, but I was like, oh, I can't miss this because I've always been such a big fan, and so thank you for taking the time to do it, and yeah, thank you, Gene.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And one more thing before we kind of end. Also, part of my work here in Mission Culture Center is to promote Latino arts, and also kind of the history of the center in terms of social protests, because in the 70s, people would find out about anything through posters and printmaking. And here I have the time to learn how to print posters and print social justice movements in the form of an image here at my work today. So I'm really excited about the future.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And I think people don't realize, how much history goes into that type of art. But it's great that you're, exploring it all and keeping it alive. And I mean, it's so important, especially to the Latino community. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Gene. And you're doing, you represent so well, and we adore you as well, Gene. We're you're a shooting star, you're rising, we're going to see you doing so many great things. You've got such a wonderful life ahead of you, and you're on the perfect path. And I'm so glad that you were our guest tonight. And so I want to thank you, Gene. Thank you so much for your beautiful presence.
Oh, thank you so much, AJ. I appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Okay, so how can people follow you on Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I know it's kind of cheesy, but you can follow me at I Love Gene Franco. Or I just started a new one called A Ribbon Around a Bomb.
That sounds
which is a quote by Marcel Duchamp describing the work of Frida Kahlo back in the day. And hopefully with that new Instagram account, I will help explore my play more, which I would love to turn into a tour around the US and also in Latin America, which hopefully will be translated into Spanish. And also that in the future that I can travel with this throughout the United States and maybe have it turned into a film.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fabulous?
It would be amazing.
Yes, Gene. Well, we believe in you, and we believe in your dreams, and we hope that they come true. If there's anything that we can do to help those dreams come true, let us know. And I want to encourage everybody out there to follow Gene Franco. He's a beautiful heart, and he's an amazing artist and theater actor. And just watch him. He's going to go far. He's going to go really, really far. So before we close our show, we always do heart messages. So I'm going to start doing my heart message. So my heart message this week is, and then we're going to go around to Paul and Eugene. Here we go. The biggest mistake we make in life is thinking we have the time. And so I want us to appreciate, just like we appreciate Eugene and Paul, I appreciate your time and thank you for being here. We should appreciate time. Do it now. I say do it, do the things you want to do, act on it now. So that is my heart message for this week, for encouragement. And over to you, Paul.
That's beautiful.
I don't that's beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything that will top that, but I just from what we spoke today, I think let's try to not only collaborate, but let's collaborate across the aisle, if you will, with other cultures. You know, even if it's things that maybe we don't understand or just want to learn more about. But I think through collaboration, we can make some beautiful projects together. So let's really think about collaborating this year and reaching across the aisle and you know, making the world a smaller place with different cultures and different art and different things like that. So again, and thank you, Gene. Thank you so much for taking the time to do our show.
Yeah, thank you so much. And for me, AJ, would be to give people the chances they deserve. Because without the people who gave me my chances, I don't think I would have been in the position I am today. And especially for as an underrepresented minority, it's those chances that I took and the risks that I took in order to get there helped propel me to where I am today. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to have the most experienced actor, but like sometimes you can find gems and gifts and the ones that are undiscovered.
Absolutely. I love those sentiments and I loved your message, Gene and Paul. I loved yours as well. And so amazing. Just an amazing, incredible show tonight. I'm so very happy. You made me very, very happy, Gene, and so did you, Paul. And with that, I want to encourage everybody to go live for your dreams, go for your dreams, just like Gene said, and you can do it. And just have the faith in yourself and the faith in others coming in right at the right time, right, Gene, as your mentors. And we can achieve it. So thank you so much for being an inspiration to me, Gene, and everyone, and Paul, and everyone out there. So until next time, until we meet again, much love and kisses to all.
Yay, bravo, bravo. Great fan.
Pronto.
Pronto.